Mini Jake, the tribe has spoken.
Fuck you, Kevin.
Aw, fuck you too, sweetie.
I'm JJ, one of the original Tribe of Nerds members. You can catch me on Marvel, Pokemon, and other gaming podcasts.
What up? It's Josh, resident superhero nerd, but I also dabble in the occasional super villain as well.
Some may know me as the Chaos Gremlin, but really I'm just Joe King.
Pikachu, use Volt Tackle! Good job, Pikachu!
On the Tribe of Nerds. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Tribe of Nerds. Austin, Michael, and I are here for week 2 of Australian Survivor Brains vs. Brawn 2. Really exciting. Unfortunately, we don't have a guest this week, but we'll make do with the three of us and talk about an interesting week. Some big moves have been made. And ultimately we'll get to the draft check-in at the end, but ultimately 2 more players are out of the game. So
one of mine.
Yeah, and one of mine. I mean I guess that's basically we'll go more in depth at the end with the check-in, but I mean we'll talk about it along the way too. So but what were your guys' thoughts on week 2?
It was a fun week, solid week. I think it was really held together by the final episode of the week. I think episode 6 was really, really good.
Yeah.
Obviously, episode 5 being a non-elimination.
Right.
They're to be expected in Australian Survivor, but I think it wasn't the most egregious one we've had, and I think we'll get to it when we get there, but I think based on what they've done in the past, this is a really fun non-elimination and could lead to some interesting dynamics, but we'll cover that. It was just and then obviously the Nash implosion, the elimination of the Nash Rash. So it was it was another fun week. It's shaping up to be a good season.
Yeah, he just made it out of week 1 from our predictions initially. So technically he beat our predictions, but Austin, your thoughts on week 2?
Yeah, I mean, I liked week 1 more, I won't lie. I feel like we've hit that point where how the edit's going, we're kind of getting rid of the people who are kind of too ambiguous, too little out there. I mean, we have the 2 people that went home this week. I pretty much saw them coming from a mile away. I mean, I guess the one I just watched, the last episode, was a little more suspense than anything. But I mean, at the end of the day, the challenges have been fun. I think we've been getting some good content from both tribes. Very excited to see a potential swap for certain individuals. And I think this week showcased a lot of traits and qualities in certain individuals that I'm really excited to see in a swap also. So I'm excited to dig into what we all think about these episodes because I mean, the no elim round was actually quite interesting, so I'm kind of interested to hear what you guys' thoughts were. So,
yeah, I mean, like you guys said, I mean, the non-elim, it's to be expected in Australian Survivor. It always happens. That's like a staple of this version of the show. I thought this worked. I mean, I feel like the first one that happens in every season is generally probably the best one, because I feel like it adds interesting dynamics and it's early enough to where it doesn't like mess up the game too much. So I just think back, like this is the exact spot. I mean, last season with Kelly going to the other tribe, Nick in season 1 getting him and Connor getting voted to the other tribe. Like this is that exact spot. So we'll talk about it when we get there. But I enjoy the ones they do in this spot in the game. So
And even Jerry as well. I think
Yeah,
Jerry was
Jerry.
6 going into 7, right? So it was like right around that time.
Yeah, Jerry as well.
And
So
he made it all the way.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Look out, Rich. He's going to do it.
Yeah, we'll see if Rich can do it. All right, let's get into it. Episode 4. So, anything interesting from the camps? Because I have the challenges and everything and some of the interesting stuff, but any like character moments or anything that you guys noticed from either of the camps?
We got a couple of cool things. This is the immediate fallout from AJ's idol clue and finding the idol. So we get Noonan and AJ looking for the not AJ, sorry, Paulie, looking for the idol that Paulie has already found. So I think he made the right decision, because she said in the confessional that I'm going to find this idol, and when I do, I won't tell a soul about it. So yeah, good call. He's managed to keep her close with him, but he's already got the idol and he doesn't have to worry too much about that. And crazy having an idol and not telling everyone about it. It seems to be working well for him so far.
Yeah, I think Paulie's definitely making the right decision here. He doesn't need to tell Noonan about like everything he has in his bag of tricks. He can just keep it low key and still keep the trust there. So
We also have Rich saying he's excited to play the second act. It's episode 4, Rich.
yeah,
This isn't the second act.
I mean, again, he's a movie director, so that I guess he's thinking in terms of, oh, it's a movie. It's time for like, I guess like the build up to the climax at this point. So
So early.
yeah, I would say I think this week is like I could say these whole 2 weeks is probably the first act. So uh maybe you can say that once it gets to like week 3, maybe that's the first act, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how this is already a next act. I mean, maybe just from going to a tribal, he's considering it act 2. I don't even know. So
I don't know.
It's going to be a
that's
20
just
act season.
Oh my. All right. Anything else before we get to our reward challenge?
One brief thing we do, I have to get my Dirty Harry mention in there because we
Yes.
do get Nash fake crying on the beach, which Harry used to great success in Champions versus Contenders too. Nash, it doesn't work as well for him.
No, very much not. Um, yeah, I mean, if it's funny because what Nash is actually a dad, and then Harry wasn't at the time, so it's actually funny.
at least Polly checks in on him.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
About
I
it,
mean,
really.
I think as humans, I think they believe like they don't want anybody to actually be hurt or going through that amount of anxiety or stress. Even if Nash is lying about that as he has lied about everything else. So
I'm pretty sure they take into consideration he's a good guy at the end of the day, but the dude's
yeah.
just gone bonkers in strategy wise. So
Right.
I'm sure they're sitting there going, we feel bad. We do feel bad for you genuinely, but
Right. I mean, it reminds me like games I mean, we've all played these games and I decided to go chaotic in Big Brother Vanquish and it didn't work out among other reasons of choosing to play with someone that ended up torpedoing my game. So but um all right. Let's get to the reward challenge. So the reward challenge is for the choice of flint or sausages. Originally, it's sausages. It does end up being for flint as a choice. Um, this is where they have to stand on the sharp spikes, and this is kind of like the Dirty Harry challenge. And also, like Haley has done this challenge as well, and she is great at it. I mentioned it in our reactions for that episode. I like this challenge. It's always interesting to watch how much pain these people are willing to endure.
And they had to stretch really out wide. Like those last pegs, like I couldn't do it just on a flexibility standpoint, let alone the pain.
Yeah, I couldn't either. So
yeah,
Austin.
these big boys, I mean, my feet would have been dead probably by the first peg anyway.
Yeah.
I can't imagine how some of them were surviving by the second.
Right. Yeah, it's just a lot to deal with. The Brains tribe does win. I believe what was it? Zara and Logan are up there for a very long time and end up pulling it out.
Yeah.
So good on them. And we do get the choice between sausages and Flint, and Rich manages to convince the Brains to stick with the just keeping the sausages. And so they do keep the sausages and keep the Brawn tribe from getting them. So I did like the question of would they be willing to like get Flint for like the long run at the risk of letting the other tribe feed themselves more. So I kind of like that choice.
Kind of a wild choice, though, right?
Yeah.
Like, how long is that sausage reward gonna last? I don't even know what a sausage sizzle is. They kept calling it a sausage sizzle. I don't know what that is. Australians help me out. But yeah, I surely if you have no fire and you're being offered a flint, I think they only took it to spite the other tribe. But they needed the flint, and hey, maybe it'll buy you a bit of, goodwill from the tribe if you ever end up playing with them. Give them the sausages, take the flint. It works out all around.
True.
I
Yeah.
think this is a good example of how chaotic this tribe is. I mean, they were discussing which seemed like for a hot minute about what decision they want to make. And I mean, you had people butting heads every single way. I mean, it was basically Rich, obviously, that was like, hey, shut up, let's do this, and we're doing this now. I mean, I don't know how that's a very ethical way to get a group of people to, submit to one answer, but at the end of the day, they did, raise their hands for what's what, and they decided that way. But I think that definitely shows moving forward for what we see in the next episodes, like how collaborative this group is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, completely.
Yeah. All right, so we do go back to the Brawn camp. What I have next is that Nash decides he's going to admit to throwing the first immunity challenge. And he, for some reason, tells his entire tribe, especially PD, who is the football coach, why would you tell the guy who is a football coach that you threw the game?
It's just dumb. So dumb. Sorry, Nash.
Messy, messy, messy.
Of course, PD, the football coach, is gonna be like, I hate this guy now because he just admitted to throwing game. Like, I imagine PD has definitely had talks with his players in football games about not doing this sort of thing. So,
I mean, you're also throwing it as a brawn. Like,
yeah,
put two and two together, Nash. You probably have a tribe full of athletes in general. So I'm sure you're not making anyone happy about the fact that you're admitting to throwing a challenge when, like, for example, half this group has played competitive sports in their lifetime, and they're like, we would never do this, even if we're 0-12 in the season, we would still never throw it. So I
yeah.
mean, I don't know what like some of the calls Nash has made is mind-boggling. Unless I don't know if it's
All of them.
starvation or ego or what.
Yeah,
Like,
Michael.
so with the challenge thrower, it's just I feel like he's just someone that really wanted to go in and play like a big game and be this big character
Mhm.
without really understanding just how long the game of Survivor is, especially in Australian Survivor. Like, you are gonna go to tribal council. Like, you've never voted with these people before. You made yourself go there and flush your own idol. And when he gets voted out in episode 4, he could have still had his idol,
Yeah, yeah.
but and he could have still been the game. Maybe Braun win the first 3 immunities, and Nash survives episode 4, and he gets to do a swap. Like, who knows? He just exacerbated, like, sped up his own elimination.
Yeah, it was a really stupid idea, for sure to do what he did, and I never would condone throwing a challenge. Like maybe the only scenario I can see, which has been done on the show, which has been like the only successful challenge throws I can think of, is like I believe Survivor Africa, Ethan throws the challenge to get rid of Silas at the swap. There's a couple other scenarios that I think have been good, but most of the time it just blows up in people's faces. So it's a really bad idea.
See, I don't mind the challenge throw. I do think there are times in Survivor where it is beneficial. And, we saw George do it with his
Yeah,
hostages in Heroes versus Villains as well. But
right.
like,
That too.
if the big difference between those times and this is that there was a set alliance. George, for example, knew who he wanted to work with and how those numbers were going to benefit him going into merge. Nash, this is the first tribal council. He doesn't know who's with who. He doesn't know the dynamics on the other tribe. There's no reason to be throwing a challenge, especially challenge one. But like there are times, especially in a swap, where it could be beneficial if you've got allies on the other side that you want to keep safe and they're in the minority, or stuff like that. It can be beneficial. But yeah, what Nash did was just the act of a madman.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny to think about how this game could have switched up if he actually tried there. I mean, I've heard one podcast and they were talking about how they thought Candy would probably make it farther if it wasn't so forced right off the start.
Right.
I mean, if we just remember the first episode, I mean, it was so forcefully Candy or Ursula, you know what I mean? And it was
Right.
rather literally because of the chaotic mess where it wasn't even that strategic at that moment. It was more of, I have no idea what's going to happen here. We need to play it safe and do this because Madman has an idol. So, I mean, like, this whole season could have started off completely different, or they might have even won it and it could have been like Kent right off the gate. You know what I mean? So, like, it's really interesting to think about the concept of Survivor and how certain, spiderweb movement kind of happens. Like literally Nash throwing it, like could maybe made his long game better. Could have been him right off the bat. You really don't know. Like very
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. It's impossible to play that really aggressive Russell Hantz type game. I mean, Russell Hantz couldn't do it himself. So, like, it's in Australian Survivor, it's so difficult. Again, the only people that have been able to pull it off really are George and David, I feel like, and, probably a couple other ones. But, like, that's generally who I can think of who can play really aggressively and still make it through. Harry is probably another one. Like, I mean, that's three references to Dirty Harry, but, but
You
yeah.
almost you almost need to make yourself seem so unlikable to the point where the people you're talking to are like, we can get to the end with this dumb fuck and beat him. Like that's literally what you have to do. But I think Nash played the good guy card a little bit to the point where they were like, I don't want this nut job getting there because I feel like he'll make friends along the way or he'll
Yeah.
switch the game up strategically. Whereas Russell played the dumbass card and the do what I say or else type card where I mean Natalie White is a good example of that. She probably thought the entire time this dude's just a dumbass. Like
Yeah.
I can probably beat him at the end.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And she did. So, um, yeah. All right. So then we do get to the immunity challenge, and this is the rugby challenge, aka the Golden Foot coming out to win immunity for the Brains. Miles carries the Brains to victory. I was so happy for my boy. He had his own theme music. Like,
It really did.
it's like
Yeah, it was like Coach's Eagle moment. It was fantastic.
yeah, every time it like started up, I was like to Austin when we were watching, it's like, okay, he's gonna make it because the music is telling us that he's about to make the goal.
I don't know if the edit showcased him missing ever, but I wonder if he actually did miss during that challenge ever because I think he went perfect. He just kicked every damn goal in. It was quite impressive.
Yeah, I feel like they must have just, they obviously took out any misses because I just have to imagine that he didn't actually go perfect. I obviously they're gonna take like the highlights of most of the challenges that go on forever, but maybe I'm wrong and he just dominated. So
He's just good at kicking.
yeah, yeah. So, I mean, because they've done things in seasons where they've cut stuff out of challenges. I mean, 48 just did it, and for something that happened there. No spoilers there, but and then I was Heroes versus Villains, U.S. Heroes versus Villains. I believe that opening reward challenge they cut rounds out of that, despite it being a really entertaining physical challenge. So they just take the highlights of stuff. I know that, but
That's fair. Yeah.
All right. So after that, we get back to camp, and Nash decides to gun for another attractive woman and gun for Morgan. Uh,
Why, Jake?
yeah, yeah. I mean, he apparently thinks Morgan the Olympian is weak, which is really stupid. Yeah, like you're gonna think someone who is used to like being physical in their real life like is weak. It's just so stupid.
Nah. He tried to like change it because he said, I don't think she's strong. And then he tried to change it when, um, who was it he was talking to? Was it Paulie?
I think it was Polly.
Where he
Yeah.
was, where he was like, she's an Olympian, dude. Like, come on. He's like, oh no, I don't think she'll be strong for our game. I was like, I don't think that really works. But yeah, it's such a bizarre reason to go for it. I feel like he was just trying to throw anyone's name out, and the best thing he could have done is just try and throw Ursula under the bus. Because that's the only name people were actually willing to jump on as an alternative.
Just
But
imagine
yeah,
if he did that, he'd be her still if he got Ursula out, and he'd be hitting a swap next.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. We also this is where he also has like the fake idol. Everybody thinks like he might have found one. He uses the parchment from his first idol in that, which is smart because if you want to show people like you might have had it, then you can show them this parchment. Of course, that's seemingly not what he does. He just is basically like making people think he just has something and not like showing them any sort of proof either. So.
You know what? I'm actually shocked he doesn't try to throw Ursula under here. I mean, he
Yeah.
actually gives himself some tools to make it seem like Ursula could be a better option. I mean, he has a fake idol that I don't know if it persuaded everybody,
Hmm.
but I'm sure some people, it looked like some people were like, ooh, it could be. Like, I'm surprised he doesn't because when you're trying to play the long game and you're a madman like Nash, I mean, as little as just this vote could save his ass long term. And like, unfortunately, he just wanted to work with Ursula so much. And I think he really thought like PD and Kristen were on his side so hard that he just didn't see that coming. You know what I mean? But
Right.
yeah, I think that could have been a play Nash could have tried differently because you're trying to take out Morgan, who everyone loves. I mean, that's a hard bullet to shoot at. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was a really bad decision. So,
and also like he doesn't have the allies he thinks he does. Like even Ursula is the one that tells everyone that he threw the challenge when she's trying to kind of distance herself from Nash and try not to go down with that sinking ship. It does lead to a fantastic quote where Morgan says about Ursula, "You're Nash's puppet. You haven't tried with anyone. You wait for us to speak and then you walk away." So savage.
yeah, I like Morgan a lot. We're gonna get more from her at this tribal council coming up, but um I want to see even more of her and we just haven't because the Brawn tribe has been so successful. Um so all right, so we get to tribal council, and so Morgan starts calling out Nash. A lot of people are calling out Nash. Kate's doing it too. I mean, a lot of people are just calling this man out at tribal, and he ends up getting voted out in a 7-2 to 1 vote over Ursula and Morgan. So thoughts on tribal council and Nash getting voted out?
I mean, it was gonna happen. It was just Nash didn't do well. I mean, he really needed to, like Mike said, toss Ursula under the bus and kind of try to survive another round. And in theory, they might have bought it a little bit, like, because at that point, you're gonna find out if Nash's idol is real or not, and I mean, he's just gonna be sunk on the bottom without any allies if you just get rid of Ursula anyway. So it could have been different for him if he tried that, but at the end of the day, he overplayed way too much. I think Katie, or what's her name? I think it's Kate
Kate.
said,
Yeah.
yeah, Kate said he overcooked. I mean, he definitely overcooked.
Yeah, 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 that was bad. Yeah, Michael, your thoughts?
I think we're just past the era of tricks like that working with a fake idol, and like the players now have seen so much Survivor for the most part, and they're so savvy to the tricks. We saw Henry try to do it in
Yeah.
All Stars, and it's so easy to avoid in a tribe of so many people. Like you can still flush an idol and get the person you want out or have like a backup. So it's not like in the past people would throw an idol around and everyone would panic and they wouldn't put their name down. Um, and that was like during the height of idol madness in US Survivor. That's where Russell was like at his height, where he scared people into putting his name down. He got through so many rounds because of that. But now people know the workarounds with idols. So like Nash was always good. He guaranteed he was going to get votes. Like the thing for me, the second he said, "Everyone write my name down and I'll decide who goes home," like that's the tell right there. Like he doesn't have an idol. He's trying to scare you. He's trying to bluff you. This was never going to work in in season 10 or whatever it is of Survivor Australia.
I also think it's a little early. It was like a little early for Nash. Like, say they kept going on this tribe for a few rounds. Let's say they're at like 7 or 8 people left on this tribe or something. I think a fake idol is a little more doable at that point in the game because we're at the stage where I think Polly finds the idol before this. I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah.
So Polly already has an idol, so he knows this is bullshit.
Right.
I mean, you just used an idol, so you have the idol clue already. So people are already noticing. Like, you could obviously just create a fake idol and call it a day. I mean, it's also just too early. You're at what do they have here? 10 people.
Yeah.
I mean, they just split the vote and call it a day. They don't give a shit. So say we're farther in this game and it's like right before merge and you have like 5 or 6 people on your tribe. I think a fake idol is definitely a little more doable there. Now people are like, oh my God, now if we split this vote, it could fuck me somehow. Like
right. One person
here they're like, who's gonna vote with Nash? Like, who cares?
Right. Right. All right, so Nash is gone, and we get to episode 5, and this is going to be the non-elimination idol. But before we get there, AJ does find the brains idol. So good on AJ. Austin's pick gets something. So
I need it. Like he's like the one player that needed this the most, and I think he's gonna use it correctly. I just for some reason he's giving me that really smart poker guy type mentality. And I think he needs it because he needs to rebound really hard from what he tried to do and set him up. Like he set himself up to be on the bottom, unfortunately. So he needs an idol right now because that name's gonna get tossed around like a salad for the next few episodes. So he knows he's gonna have to use it.
for sure.
This was a great week for AJ. Like in comparison to that first week with that failed move in episode 3, like he really came back strong this week, and I didn't think too much of him as a player in episode 3. I thought he had ideas about being this amazing player, but he didn't really pull anything off or have the savvy that he seemed to think he had. But like this week, AJ was great. He was one of the real standouts. And yeah, finding the idol, I was like, okay, now he has room to move. So maybe finding the idol gave him that confidence as well, because now he knows if all things go bad, I can at least play my idol and get through. But now I can really start making inroads with people.
Right.
The edit almost makes it seem like he just noticed he needs to shut up and kind of sit back, and because that's kind of what I've noticed throughout this episode specifically. Like he knows he needs to stop yapping. I mean, he still talks. We'll get to that point, but he's not as motivated, I'll say, as he was from episode 3. He's definitely noticing women do not like him on this tribe, and then some men don't also.
Yeah.
Especially Ali.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially Allie.
We'll get there. I mean, anything else? I mean, is this where Allie does go up to him and acts real condescending towards him? Like, this is horrible. I mean, this episode starts Allie's downward spiral of how bad of a player she is. So
we get the beginnings of it. It's not the big one on the beach, but in this pre-reward section, it's the first conversation between them where she comes up to him to apologize about throwing his name out there and tell him about the Logan plan. And you get a confessional from AJ saying, I think she was trying to comfort me, but she just ended up bragging about how well she was doing.
yeah, this was terrible gameplay. Austin.
I think we have a lot of eager players, honestly, on this cast. Like, we have a lot of people that probably take a lot of influence from US New Era or something, and they want to, like, start the game off running. And I think that's the huge disconnect between the two different types of survivors. Like, US Survivor, man, you have 5 other people you can chat with. You can definitely start off running a little bit on a new era versus a 12-man roster of Survivor players on a tribe that you have no idea when you're going to swap. So, like, it's cool. I like seeing people run out of their shoes and, get hit with a baseball bat and sent back to reality. But,
Hmm.
it's just funny to watch so many of them in this cast because you see the people that are kind of just like this. They're like, whatever, I'm gonna let them kind of go nuts. Like PD just seems like the cool collective guy. I mean, Jesse, the only thing I've really seen is the women don't. I think it was only episode 1 where they were like, he can calm down a little bit, but I literally haven't seen him since. So it's just interesting. Like these people are going nuts and they're going home, and these people are just chilling and just chilling still.
Right. Right. Yeah, I just don't get why you would go up to someone and like talk down to them like this. Like I don't know how she just thought this was a good play at all. But all right. Let's get to the reward challenge, and this is the mudslinging. So this is really interesting. So they have to like scrape off the mud, and then they have to pack it into like mud balls and toss it at targets. Like this is unique. Like we've seen the scrape the mud off many times before in US and Australian Survivor, but not to this level. I think Philippines in the US with Malcolm winning, I think this was like this might have been the only other time they used it where they threw the mud balls. So uh very, very, very fun to watch. Also disgusting.
Yeah. Is that the one where Russell questioned why he was here? It's like, why did you do this to me, God? That
Yeah,
challenge.
no, so Russell Swan, that was the one, that was the Wrecking Ball one. The one that Malcolm won was when his brother came out and like
Oh,
acted
okay.
crazy. And Lisa had the brother sister moment.
That's the one. But yeah,
Yeah.
this was a really fun challenge. Like I loved incorporating the two. Like usually you'd have something like that, but it would just be throwing balls at the end. So like I liked making the first part of the challenge into the second part of the challenge. So that was fun. And yeah, I love they always do it on Survivor where if you're gonna have some kind of salon spa reward, the
Yes.
challenge has to be a very messy one where you get your castmates covered in all kinds of gunk and mud and stuff. So yeah, they really make the roast of getting the dirty shots and then oh look how clean they are. So yeah, this was a really fun one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Awesome.
enjoyed this one.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I think they should do this challenge every season. But yes, so the Brawn tribe does win this challenge, and they end up bringing Allie to the reward. And this is where Allie exposes everything and basically tells the Brawn tribe all the alliances, the Witches' Coven, and that the none of the guys can be trusted, and just making it extremely obvious what is going on there. And this was one of the worst plays, at least in Australian Survivor, I think I've seen probably in any Survivor I've ever seen. But
It was interesting. I would like to just before we get to that point as well, just mention how hilarious I found it that Logan was desperately begging to come on the reward,
oh
and they
yeah.
just flat up told him, "Is like, should we take the girl who's crying?" They're like, "No."
Poor Logan. But it was funny.
It was funny.
Anything else on Allie exposing everything?
I mean, I think Polly hit it on the mark. They chose the best
Yes.
person possible. And Kate loves throwing one-liners in there. She cracks me the hell up. I think she said something about, oh, drama or something like that. And I was cracking up. I'm like, yeah, she definitely brought the drama. Allie doesn't hold back. And again, I just don't understand. She must come from an area of like work or something where she loves to just stir a pot or like get her voice heard because like she goes over there and just tattles, man. It's like tattling to my mom about my brother doing something dumb. She literally just goes off and goes and goes. I'm in this alliance. Watch out for this alliance. I'm like, come on. Like, yeah, I don't know.
You know what it is? She's used to working with artificial intelligence. She doesn't know how to speak to human beings. She can't do it. It's terrible.
Oh my God, that's it.
That's it. Speak to people. It's not all
Yeah.
AI.
They're
Yeah,
not
Terrible.
bots.
yeah, because she can just nonstop talk to robots.
Yeah. And robots don't spill information back to their robot pals.
Oh
This
my,
is hilarious. Now you got me thinking of like her talking to NPCs the entire time in video games.
Yeah, she
oh,
just, I don't know. This was crazy. Like, I don't know what she was thinking. Paulie has a funny line where he says he thought he'd have to bribe Ali with champagne, but no, it turns out she'll just tell us. But, like, especially, like, to tell them about an all-women's alliance, like, that's not an alliance that people are going to be, like, amazing. It's going to be something that clocks in their head. It's negative for them. It completely, obviously, the Coven's going to explode anyway, but it really does screw them in the long term just because Ali can't keep her mouth shut. Um, yeah, bizarre. And there's even a scene later where Ali says, "Oh, I told them about the Women's Alliance, and they loved it." It's like, are you deluded?
yeah, yeah, and the girls are like, what the heck? Like she just exposed everything. It's
I think
so
I said it last time we got together. This Brains tribe is completely cracked compared to this Brawn tribe. I swear to God.
yeah, well, Braun just seems way more unified. Like I especially with them just getting rid of Nash here, like Ursula's the one that's obviously not completely with them, so she could absolutely screw a few of them over at the swap. But like otherwise, I mean, this is gonna be a very strong group going into the swap. So
I'm kind of the cast train from Kagayan where she asks production to see how the hell they picked these Brains
yes,
people.
see the data. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What the hell made these people brains, man?
Yeah,
Some of them, at least. I won't say everyone. Some of them.
I mean, I feel like at least George and Haley's first season, at least the brains were somewhat competent. So like that's the one brains versus brawn season I feel like where that's the case.
It's almost like these smart people are just bashing against each other to the point where, oh, you're not as smart as me. I'll tell you how it is. I work in AI. You're just a poker player? You suck.
Mm. All right. Anything else before the immunity challenge? All right. The immunity challenge is the fire starter, so they have to build the fire and then they have to toss the balls in like the drum to make it raise up. This is pretty fun as well. And the Brawn tribe does win the challenge. So thoughts on this challenge?
We're so back. We are so back. JLP is at it again
Yes.
when he's screaming at the top of his lungs that you need to release your nutsack. Come on, JLP. That's the most egregious one yet. That's worse than busting nut after nut.
Oh my
Release your
God.
nutsack.
JLP with the nut puns.
He
I
loves
mean,
it.
he knows how to fill them in, man.
I love JLP. All right, anything else on this challenge? All
Not
right.
nothing for me here. I mean, the correct team wins again, so
Yeah, yeah. All right. So, we are gonna get back to camp. I mean, all the strategy talk. I mean, is there anything interesting there before we get to tribal where we find out what's really happening or
Yeah, this is the beginnings of the implosion of the coven,
yep.
where you have Laura really not wanting it to be rich, and Zara and Corinne thinking,
Yep.
we've been trying to get this through for 3 episodes now, and it's still not happening. And the real kind of quote that struck me like this alliance is done is where Laura calls them out and says, "I think it's emotional and illogical." And I'm so on Team Laura, not just because she's my pick, but like I don't agree with just voting someone out because you don't get on with them,
Yeah.
you don't enjoy them at camp, kind of thing. Like Rich is really not a threat to you, and because of all the stuff that's went on, he is now forming the bomb squad at this point, so now he is. But if you just kept Rich on side all this time, like he was completely loyal to the Coven, and now they're in this position where it's all going to blow up. But yeah, I kind of feel for Laura in this because I think she did a great job of building this alliance, and now it's all just crumbling around her, and she's losing everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a girls alliance at this stage of the game is almost like gonna implode in general. I mean, we've seen two successful girl alliances from the beginning, and it was literally seasons where it was divided by gender, and I mean, they get to merge and they already have the upper hand. So I mean, like we're seeing a girls alliance try to start from day one just because they oppose the boys, and then they get to know these guys, and half of them are like, I don't think it's good for my game to get rid of this guy, and then they just get catty. So I mean, at the end of the day, I had a feeling this was gonna kind of get strong, but. Yeah, this was Rich just he kept getting food shoved down his mouth, like shut up, shut up, shut up. And then finally, I mean, the names just kept getting out there. I mean, I just love how it's like, let's get rid of AJ, let's get rid of you, let's get a you it's just chaotic. This whole damn tribe doesn't know what the hell's going on.
Right. Yeah, they're a train wreck. So yes, the bomb squad attempts to form and Rich goes kaboom. But I mean it is gonna go kaboom.
You know what? Rich gives me real Emmett energy.
Yes, yeah, I can see him being like an Emmett from original Brains versus Brawn, yeah.
Like in terms of like delivery and stuff as well, he has that kind of I don't know weird voice pattern where he like puts on a weird voice in his confessionals.
Yeah.
We also do get the is it Zara and Karen having the backup alliance with Miles and AJ comes out in this
Yes.
episode. So I really love the two opposing duos within the Coven over the course of these two episodes where they each had their own little things going on about how the Coven's going to disband. And Zara and Karen's like really impressed me in this episode. I thought they're looking ahead, and that AJ Miles dynamic is a good one for them. And I think when we were talking about like women's alliances, men's alliances, I think the reason they don't work out on the whole is any alliance that is just built on immediate an immediate thing you have in common when you have no idea of people's personalities. Like people are always going to rub each other up the wrong way. Whereas like we start to see in these episodes natural alliances coming out, not based on just gender, but based on whose games line up and how these people interact and enjoy each other's company and play together. So I like that it started that way and now it's going into something deeper than just male versus female.
Right.
Agreed.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. All right, we are gonna get to the tribal council, and people cannot stop talking, and AJ exposes the bomb squad. So that happens, and they find out that someone is getting sent to the Brawn tribe, and it is the first non-elimination of the season. But that this person will receive a scroll to take with them. So I like that kind of everything is on the table. Like they know what they're getting. Like I feel like at least the first couple seasons of Australian Survivor, they did a really bad job of like having people know things beforehand, and then they figured, well, people should get a chance to like prepare for what's coming, and strategize, plan ahead for it. And so I like that they're able to do that by now. So
Yeah, because it doesn't kind of affect their long-term game anymore in that regard. Like we saw with AK in 2017, like his game was completely destroyed by they think they're getting rid of Tara
yeah,
and she ends up staying in the game and coming back to bite him later on. It's like if they were told that it was non-elimination, like you say, like they could have switched and sent someone that they didn't mind going over there. So like I do like how they've adjusted these non-eliminations.
yeah, that bothered me for sure back then. Like, yeah, those types of twists. Even like as much as I love Nick, like season one, I mean, they had no idea that they weren't voting Nick and Connor out of out of their tribes that season. So
See, I kind of like when they don't know what the hell's going on because then it's the true emotion of, fuck, I just screwed up because of this damn game fucked me. I don't know. I kind of like I don't mind it either way, but it is fun. I think it's entertaining when you're about to get rid of your biggest threat finally, and you're like, yes, yes. And then they're like, oh, you're going to another tribe actually. And then you're like, no. And then they come back and try to get your ass.
Right. I mean, it makes things a little more interesting, but it also just sucks. Because sometimes it does screw over those people that you want to see more of, like an AK, where he was playing a great game and then all of a sudden just gets swapped into a position with someone who's dragged his name through the mud and then
Yeah.
has the power to get rid of him. So,
Yeah, I feel like that's a bias aspect, right? Like I could
right,
love Kent I love Kent so much, and then he gets swapped over, and I'm like, oh yeah, I love it. But if he doesn't, now I'm like, fuck Kent, man. So I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like that's definitely a biased, favor of either or. But
right.
yeah, like I said, I don't care regardless if they tell them or not. I just think it's really good TV when it's not told to them, and they absolutely just screw half the people on the tribe.
Right, right. All right. So then when the twist is revealed, AJ wants to go over. The girls are like, no, we can't do that. And Laura takes this opportunity to be like, fine, we can send Rich over because he's not getting eliminated. So she's very giddy about that. And Rich is sent to Brawn 9-1. He does vote for Max. And which is telling of what's going to happen in this last episode for this week of why he gives Max the advantage. And so, yeah, basically, Rich is sent to Braun and he gets the no, and it's basically a safety without power where he can send two people back to camp, can include himself, but it has to be played at the very next round for either side. So, I liked this twist. Again, it caused something crazy and interesting to happen, or at least it caused like a predictable vote to happen in a crazier way than it would have otherwise. So I thought this twist was pretty good.
Yeah, I like that Lauren really quickly used this to her advantage by getting Rich out of this train wreck that would have probably ended his game in a further episode with this tribe. Like she definitely was thinking of him in this instance where she already knew that he was gonna it was gonna happen to him eventually with this group of people. So you might as well just save his ass if you want him as your number one by getting him on the other tribe now. Like it was very, very good and quick thinking on her end. I thought that was a really good executed move if she wanted to work with this guy long term, knowing the tribe doesn't.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, like every tribal council, his name keeps coming up, and she's going out of her way to save him. So it's like, yeah, just get him out of there, and hopefully he sticks around, and we can link back up in a swap or a merge. So yeah, it worked out really well for Laura. Once again, Laura just being fantastic. Shout out, Laura.
She's a really good player again. She continues to impress me more and more this season of what she's able to do here. So I enjoy her. All right, so yeah, Rich is sent over. We get to episode 6, and yeah, Rich is over on the Brawn tribe, and I mean, clearly, I think this tribe is very unified. So it just seems like it's probably going to come down to him or Ursula, basically, is what it's seeming like. Anything else before we get to the reward challenge?
Going back to what I was talking about at the beginning,
Yeah,
this is what I love about kind of how the players have learned the game and how it plays out at this point. So we have Rich arriving at Braun, and they've seen Kelly go to
yeah,
Titans Beach in the previous season. They've seen Jerry go to Villains Beach and come back. So the natural assumption is like this guy's on a secret mission,
right.
and I like that they know that that's the expectation, but no, he's actually going to be a part of this tribe. So how is he going to navigate that? Uh, so it's just interesting watching all the players try and work out what's going on based on what they've seen, but this is a completely different twist.
Yeah, well, and I like that it's also stated that he's there on that tribe to stay now. He's not going back to the brains. So I liked that aspect of the twist too, is now he's not just there for a mission, he's part of that tribe. So
Yeah, I like that as well. Like because I don't know, it's so weird when you send someone on the other tribe and you know that you're gonna go back to your old tribe. You're just trying to throw it. Like it's almost I don't know. It kind of messes up the whole gameplay feature. I feel like it's almost like you're just throwing it yourself. Like if your own tribe is gonna throw it and send someone home anyway. Like I don't know. It kind of messes the flow up of the game for me a little bit. So I like that he's included indefinitely to this tribe.
Yep. All right, we get to the reward challenge, and it's one of our favorites, Sumo at Sea, a classic Survivor challenge. And Ursula and Karen, they wrestle for 20 minutes, which is insane because almost always this challenge is pretty quick. So that was shocking to me that it lasted so long.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah,
nobody
it's
got the
just
upper hand ever, so it was just butting heads for 20
Right.
straight minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd be exhausted at that point. Like I just wouldn't be able to sit there. And I think that proves how strong both these women are that they're able to do this for 20 minutes. Like, geez.
and she did take her opportunity to tell Ursula, "Don't trust Rich." I
Right.
called that as soon as they were like huddled together. I was like, "She's gonna say like she can't trust Rich," and she did. This was also a reward sponsored by IKEA, so
Yes.
Survivor
IKEA.
Australia really likes their sponsors.
Yes. Yeah. IKEA fall collection.
I can't believe how much some of these women hate Rich. I just never seen it coming. Like it's
Yeah.
almost just random to me that they just did not like this guy.
Yeah. I didn't really get it either, other than like, okay, he's a little loud and out, maybe a bit too outgoing, and maybe he wants to call the shots a little too much. I feel like that's probably it, but it just felt like it came out of nowhere in the edit for sure.
Yeah, he must just have like a boy's ego or something that just rubs it really hard onto the women of the tribe or something. Because yeah,
Mhm.
he it was just it kind of was random. It was like episode 2 or something where we got
Yeah,
the hint finally that they don't like this guy, and I was like, damn, it almost was like he was the cool guy of the tribe until now.
right. Yeah, because I got the impression that's what his spot in the tribe was going to be preseason, and then I was just like, oh, this is how it's going for him. So, all right, yeah. So the Brawn wins the IKEA comfort. So, good for them there. I mean, anything else interesting? Oh, we do get the interaction between Miles and Polly being like, "Don't hit my face. It's the moneymaker," from Polly, and Miles is like, "Well, yeah, this is not the moneymaker." So that was a good interaction.
And we get Noonan suggesting a breakdancing competition instead of fighting, which also made me laugh.
Yeah, yeah, that was good too. All right. So that happens, and then anything else back at camp between this and the immunity challenge?
This is where the coven disbands, and we also have a great little conversation between Logan and Laura, where Logan says, "I've come back to camp and I don't want to work with Zara anymore. What do you think?" And Laura says, "I've been saying this for days." I like that it's like both sides are disbanding together. It's not like one group leaving.
Right.
Did I miss something, or was this like something throughout the episodes that was happening where Zara was like the weird one out? I always thought Zara was kind of cool with all the girls until that happened.
Yeah, I don't know. Like it didn't, because I mean, what we didn't even get like Zara's like confessional package with her like home life till this episode or episode 5, I think. Like we didn't really get to know her spot at all within the coven until a few episodes later. So
Yeah, I was completely thrown off there. I thought they were gonna say Allie until Zara's name came out. I was like, oh my God, they don't like her either. I don't
yeah,
know why.
yeah,
Yeah, the only thing I can think is it goes back to the conversation they had in episode 2 where they were just so dead set on Rich, and Laura alone came and said like the plans changed, and I think the thing with them is they just don't like the lack of flexibility, and they're just so like dead set on this guy who they see a future with. It's like if you're not willing to, discuss other options, then it's just caused a little bit of a rift there, and Yeah, I mean, I didn't see the Coven like completely breaking apart. This wasn't like a little fracture, like it's splintered down the middle, and now we have like two fractured groups that broke off from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So we do get to the immunity challenge, and this is an interesting one. I saw the water slide again. I'm like, oh, are they going back down a water slide? But no, they're going up a water slide to get letter pieces. So that was interesting. I was like, okay, so they're actually utilizing it in a different way now. And so this is the letter unscramble from heroes versus villains, where they have to put them to solve a phrase. Uh, and so I like this challenge. Again, a lot of good communication is required. And yeah, it comes down to the wire again, like it did in that season. So and of course we'll get Rich trying to tell the brains tribe to throw it, the bomb squad to throw it. So anything else of note? Like, what do you guys think of everything that went down at this challenge?
I think that was my favorite challenge, honestly. I thought
Yeah.
it was extremely unique in the way of going up the water slide and like Ben's out here killing it.
Hmm.
PD's out here killing it. I was a big fan of Noonan getting her shining moment of like, I got it, I got it, I got it. And she just goes over there and does it.
Yeah.
And like Logan's looking over there like, oh my God, she's on it. And then like literally they could have took it over if Miles didn't like shake off a letter. Like it was a very entertaining and fun challenge.
Yeah. Yeah. Because then, yeah, Miles shakes off a letter and Logan just looks at Miles like, Miles.
It was like legitimately super close. I love when challenges like really come down to the wire like that. Often it seems to be like edit and trickery to make it seem a bit more close than it is. But this, you could see both puzzles and they were both right there. So yeah, bit of a cock up from Miles, but it led to a very entertaining last portion of the episode. So I guess it worked out for the best.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and before we go further, this was also the episode with the letters at home, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
'cause got letters with their IKEA. So we do get, and I mean, is there anything of note from there when we get Polly's like package of like what he's been through in his life? So I thought that was pretty good. I think I don't know, I think it solidifies Polly as probably like a front runner to go pretty deep in the game. So
I got that too. Like usually when you're starting to showcase people pretty hot like that, that they're probably gonna make it far.
mhm, for sure.
Yeah, this was like a big move for Polly. I love that. I've been very vocal. I don't give a shit about letters from home. But it was very sweet. I like when they just focus on something that's, important and relevant. And that was a really sweet letter from Paulie's dad and,
Yeah.
getting that story. So, and everyone was moved by it. So, yeah, I think that was a really lovely moment between them and worthy of letters from home. I'll take that. I'll take one person's, story.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
also sorry, I also want to mention Kristen must not be good at confessionals because I swear to God, I finally see her first confessional like that I can even remember at this point, and I still don't even remember what she said. So
Yeah, I don't either. So I feel like that's just what it is. And then like I mean going back to like I brought up in our chat beforehand of like champions versus contenders too, and like almost all the contender women got like no airtime because I guess they just all must have not been good at confessionals. So uh
I mean, to be fair, I feel like I'd never see Ben or Jesse either
well yeah,
anymore. I don't even know where they're at.
I don't know. Jesse's just doing stuff. I mean, what they're pretending to drown, like hold her breath a couple episodes ago. Like that's what I remember. I feel like there's that, and then they've both been like solid at challenges, and that's it.
To be fair, they're also the more functional group of the two, so they're
Right.
probably trying to surplus the chaos that they got going on brains at the
Right.
moment.
Right.
So that probably also comes into my mind. But I mean, goddamn, I'd like to see some more of people other than Polly and Noonan. I feel like that's the only two I keep seeing.
Yeah, I mean, like as you said, Austin, like Kate has like good one-liners in there. I think we forgot to mention last week. I think what someone was it, Polly spills like sauce all over her at one point accidentally, and they just laugh about it. Like, I don't know. Like, there's some, and she had the confessional at Nash's boot episode with like Undercooked, as you brought up as well. Like, I think Kate is like a funny person, and then they're just not showing much of her other than her being like the hot chick, basically, is I feel like is what we're seeing of her. So, um,
I'm really praying at a future swap that these two don't go on the same tribe because I feel like they'll want to split them up. I feel like they're very close bonded girlies. So I'm really hoping at a swap they go on opposite tribes so that that doesn't get like portrayed for them because I want to see Kate and Morgan go far.
yeah, yeah, I agree.
I could see them both going very deep into the game. There is one thing just before we get into the scramble as well, before the immunity challenge. This is where we've talked about Miles being super loud in his confessionals. Apparently, he's just super loud when he talks in general, because this is where we get Miles trying to get the vote onto Max,
Oh my
which Ali
God.
overhears and
Yeah.
goes to Max, which this is like the beginning of the whole jungle rat arc that we're going to get.
Yes, the Jungle Rat arc. And just to also clear it up, because people apparently had a problem with Max saying that, and apparently Max even asked Miles if that was okay, and Miles just said yes. So like he's confirmed that. So like it's just very
People had a problem with that?
there's people on Twitter that of course have a problem with the
Oh,
rat.
shut up. It's
Yeah.
Survivor Australia. Everyone has fun nicknames. I'd love to be called a jungle rat. The
Yeah.
jungle rat. It's great. It's such a good nickname.
Yeah,
It's like the
it's just
cockroach of Bankstown.
right. It's a funny little nickname. Like I don't know. I think it's more like the American people on Twitter that take offense. Dumb shit. So,
You can't offend
Oh my
Australia.
God, I
It's not
hate
going to happen.
American Twitter. I hate American Survivor Twitter. Hate these
oh my.
people sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, again, you also can't be a man basically if you're playing these games because like if you're a woman, no matter what, you're going to get rooted for and the men are going to get rooted against.
I could literally have an alliance that goes the entire game with four women of four different races, and I would still get called an asshole or ego asshole or a bigot or something. I would get called some shit at some point just because.
Yeah. It's
Social media is very toxic.
yeah. Um, all right. So yeah, then Max does get Rich's advantage. So we do get to tribal. Well, Max tells them all that he has this advantage. So that's the first thing that really happens and starts setting off all this chaos at camp and tribal. Uh,
Oh my
this is
God.
yeah, this is not a great move. If you're gonna make this move to announce it, because then of course other plans are gonna be made. So.
I almost feel like the best players on this team strategies is just to not say anything because I swear to God, everyone just fucks themselves over on this tribe. I swear to God, almost half this tribe just says something stupid and they're all like, yeah, and the people are quiet are like, yeah, yeah, you're an idiot. Thanks for giving us your opinion.
Right. Right.
I mean, this was such a fun like build up the tribal council. Not only do we get Max telling everyone about his advantage, he very openly says he plans on stomping the rat out right in front of the entire tribe. And we start getting all these little splinter groups and plans going on. We've got to talk about the graduates, which is like, I guess, the main lines that comes together out of this. And I love that group. I really like that group.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. I like that group.
So that's Miles, AJ, Logan, and Laura. Is that the group? Or no?
No, Karen and Zara.
Karen is yeah, my bad. Yeah. That I remember now. So yeah, because that they're gonna make that the graduates and because Laura and Logan are both like obviously, Zara and Karen are getting tired of them defending Rich and everything, as we've said. So
Yeah.
yeah. Yep. All right. So that forms, and then we get to Tribal Council. Max's sweatshirt is also iconic. Like, I'm not sure what to think of it. Um, like, I don't know. I think Australian Survivor lets them bring much more fun types of clothing than US Survivor does. So,
What did
like,
it say? I didn't really clock it.
I mean, it had flowers on it. I know that. I think it was something that like it must be something for Max's school, like as a teacher. Like it's probably something
Uh,
for his kids or
yeah.
something. So, um, but yeah, so Mad Max does come out and he uses his advantage, uses it on Laura and Karen after telling everybody different stuff of like who he's gonna use it on. So he sends them back to camp and thinks that they have just enough votes to send Miles, the jungle rat, home. And ultimately, he is wrong as Zara flips on Max's plan and Allie is blindsided 4-3 over Miles. I mean, this was predicted that Allie was getting set up for her downfall at the end of this week, but to like see how it happened was so awesome and Max's reaction like amazing.
Yeah. He
Yeah, you
sent the
almost
wrong people
think.
home.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I who should he have sent? Because that's definitely the question. Should he have sent like
AJ for sure.
yeah, AJ, yeah.
Like he needs to take out someone that absolutely has Miles's back. So
Yeah.
he clearly wasn't aware of the graduates coming together, so he didn't know that Zara would be tight with Miles. But yeah, send AJ back. You have the girls that you've been working with. This not only kind of blindsided, he ended up blindsided himself, but Logan was blindsided by who he chose, and she was completely with him. So it kind of left everyone scrambling. So it was just a terrible move from Max in order to get his plan through. I do really like Corinne as she's on her way back to camp says, we've been playing schoolyard games and this vote will help us graduate. Um, so
Yeah.
I just love that subtly just reminding them like the graduates, we've got this, stick to that plan. It's a great way of seeding that with them that she's leaving, but we still got this.
Yeah. Yeah. That was very, very good. So, all right. Anything else on here? I mean, I just think I think Zara doing this, like, I feel like it's actually better for her in the long run. I think um I think like her and Karen are gonna be way better off working with Miles and AJ than sticking to this like girls' alliance of the coven and like being at the bottom of that and not having a say in what happens. So
Yep, I agree. Good to keep Miles in it because he's definitely, he might be overplaying a tad bit, but people are trusting him, so
yeah,
better to have him. I'm more excited to have him anyway than Allie, who, I mean, she was just going to be another chaotic nutcase. So,
yeah. I'm a-okay as we'll get into very shortly of the draft check, and I'm a-okay to lose her because I was pretty much left with her. I didn't actually pick her from the Brains tribe. She was the last one left.
Yeah.
I'm almost interested in what's going to happen next week, though, because I feel like we've been getting a lot of footage of like the Allie and the Kent and the Nash. Like, we just seen them all go. So I wonder who we're going to spotlight next week more.
Max probably. I think Max is the next big character for a little bit. Like I definitely can see Max now going out pre-merge, but like I think he's gonna be a big character, continue to be a bigger character for the next like week or two.
Yeah, it's going to come down to how this swap shakes things up.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah,
Um,
if Max and Rich can get back together,
yeah,
that would be a great option for him. But Max isn't the player that I thought he was going to be. Like he really, I don't know. He started off really fun and like someone that was enjoyable around camp, and he's had this weird like arrogant arc where he's like, I don't know. I've went off him quite a bit, and I really enjoyed him in the first couple of episodes, and I thought he was just going to be a fun player, but again, he's kind of warping into an Emmett. I like that I use Emmett as my yardstick for
yeah,
arrogance, but yeah, he has that kind of peacock arrogance about him I didn't really like, but he's my draft pick, so I'm gonna have to back him.
yeah. I mean, what was George's quote about Emmett? If I had a pretty face like you, I'd be arrogant as well or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If all I had was looking good, I'd be pissed
Yeah.
off too. It's like something like that. Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
brutal from George.
yes, yep. All right. let's get to our draft check-in. So ultimately, Michael and I are both going to lose a draft pick. Michael is down to 4 people, and Austin and I are tied at 7.
Not good.
You can still come back from this. If
Oh
Sarah
yeah.
is in the lead the whole time and then lose and come in last place for season 47, I think you can still win, Michael. Like,
I got Laura. I feel like she's got a good shot, but her
yeah,
position's been worse, and like I'm not confident in Max winning.
right.
Like I'm not super confident in all my picks, with the exception of Laura.
Yeah, because you have Laura Max.
Halen, who's not really strategic, like
Oh,
he'll
yeah.
probably make it far, but he ain't winning.
Yeah.
I can't remember my fourth one.
I'll,
Ursula.
I think it's,
Oh yeah, Ursula, yeah, not winning.
yeah, Ursula's not winning. Yeah. All right. And now let's get to predictions. I mean, we see a swap is coming. I mean, this is the exact time most Australian Survivor seasons swap at. They swap after the first 6 episodes generally. So what do we think is going to happen? Obviously, I don't think we have any insight into what the new tribes are going to be. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see who ends up with whom.
It's hard for me to predict, in all honesty, just because it's a swap, specifically next episode. If I knew at least what tribes were kind of going to look like, I could probably give more of a suggestion. But I definitely, for the most part, I think like we're going to see an upset Max and Logan in general. Um, we're going to see probably an excited Ursula. Um, I mean, maybe we'll start hearing from some of these quiet players like Kaylin or Ben or Kristen. I mean, I guess that's really it for my my predictions. I don't. It's hard to know who's gonna go home here, who's gonna take the top. I do, however, want to note I am definitely liking the girls in general gameplays more than the guys. I'm still gonna be on that boat from week 1 on the week 2. I'm definitely more excited to see more of the contestants than the guys right now. They are definitely either drowning themselves or they're quiet. So I'm
Yeah.
excited to see if any of them flip that agenda week 3.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, out of my draft team, I feel like, I mean, the people that haven't been shown as much, but like they haven't done anything to like drown themselves. I mean, yet. I mean, I think Kate's in a good spot, depending on if the swap all of a sudden just completely screws her over. But I'm looking at her as doing well. I'm looking at who else I have on the board. I'm trying to think. I mean I know Miles is probably gonna he might benefit from a swap, but I can see Miles being a pre-merge boot here as well. Rich, I can definitely see being a pre-merge boot at this point. I mean, so I definitely can see me losing some more picks in the next week, especially.
I think the question might be who do we think's making merge? Because I feel like I see a lot of people that could go home pre-merge.
Uh, I think I'm gonna say I think Kate is gonna get to the merge. I think that Ben probably, I mean, is anybody gonna get pissed off at Ben? I don't think so. Um, oof. Laura, like I can see, I think Laura's probably making merge.
Oh yeah, I could agree with Laura.
Yeah. So
I really want I really hope all the 4 remaining Brain women make merch. Like that's the most interesting dynamic of this season so far. And this splinter of the Covenant. Now we're going to go into a tribe swap. I really hope the 4 of them end up coming back together, and we'll see how they shake up. But I think those 2 duos of Logan and Laura and Zara and Corinne are so interesting, and I think all 4 of them are fantastic. I didn't really rate Zara like we talked about, and like all 4 of them really shone in this week. So I think they're the 4 to watch for sure.
yeah.
I couldn't agree more. I am totally into all 4 of their games at this point. Very excited to see how things shake up for them.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's very possible another one of them gets taken out like right before merge, but I could also see all 4 of them making merge at this point too. So, All right. Anything else from week 2? Are we ready to close out another week of Australian Survivor?
I'm good. I'm looking forward to week 3. So
Yeah.
excited to see what happens.
Yeah.
Start showing me some more Morgan,
Yeah.
Australian Survivor. You're really starting to deprive me of her, and I'm getting a little sad about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And hopefully next week, or the next couple weeks, we'll get some more guests on. So that's what we're hopefully looking towards. But otherwise, you'll just see us three here, if not. So, yeah, we'll see you all next time on the Tribe of Nerds.